Picture this. A fighter who once changed tires for a living in Brazil climbs to the pinnacle of mixed martial arts as a UFC champion, only to turn the tables on his doubters by revisiting his old workplace in a moment of triumphant celebration. It's a story of redemption, resilience, and a dash of poetic justice that has the MMA world buzzing. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this humble brag a stroke of genius or just a way to twist the knife in a defeated opponent's back? Stick around, because this tale from UFC 320 packs more layers than you might think, and it's one that could spark heated debates among fans. Published on October 9, 2025, at 3:51 p.m. UTC, this piece comes from Jesse Holland, a seasoned expert in combat sports journalism. With over 2 decades of experience covering MMA, professional wrestling, and boxing since 2004, Holland brings a wealth of insight to the fast-paced world of fights and fighters. Before Alex Pereira became a 2-division UFC champion, a title that means he's dominated in multiple weight classes in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the premier organization for mixed martial arts, he spent his days working at a tire shop in Brazil. For those new to MMA, think of it as a sport blending elements of boxing, wrestling, and martial arts, where athletes compete in an octagon-shaped cage. Pereira's journey from flipping tires to flipping opponents is a classic underdog story, and it's worth noting how he previously returned to that shop in a fun video, swapping out rins just for kicks, showing his roots are never far behind. Enter Magomed Ankalaev, Pereira's opponent in a highly anticipated rematch at UFC 320. Ankalaev, nicknamed Big Ank, was brimming with confidence after edging out Pereira in their first bout at UFC 313 back in March. For beginners, a rematch is when 2 fighters who previously clashed step back into the ring, or in this case, the octagon, to settle unfinished business. Ankalaev was so sure of victory that he publicly taunted Pereira, vowing to end his career and force him back into the mundane world of rubber and rims. In a social media post ahead of the event, Ankalaev wrote, "You're gonna be sleeping and on your way working at the tire shop again." It was a bold prediction designed to rattle Pereira and highlight the stark contrast between their paths. Ankalaev as a seasoned contender versus Pereira's rise from blue-collar beginnings. But Ankalaev's bravado didn't pan out. Far from it. Pereira, known as Poetan, delivered a stunning knockout in the very first round of the UFC 320 main event, silencing the critics and avenging his earlier loss. For those unfamiliar, a knockout means one fighter incapacitates the other so severely that the fight can't continue, often with a powerful strike. This quick victory not only showcased Pereira's skill, but also flipped the script on Ankalaev's taunts. And this is the part most people miss. Pereira didn't just win, he celebrated in a way that tied directly back to his past, during their pre-fight staredown, where fighters get up close and personal to psych each other out. Pereira fired back at Ankalaev, declaring he was never returning to that tire shop life. Yet post-victory, Pereira did exactly that, but on his terms. He jetted off to Brazil and visited his former workplace, belt in hand, turning what could have been a humiliating prophecy into a symbol of success. Reflecting on it all at the UFC 320 post-fight press conference, Pereira shared his mindset. "I was putting a little responsibility on myself to remember that, because I've already said it a few times before when people asked me how I managed to become the person I am today. I said, I didn't have a plan B. I had to fight. And I said I didn't want to go back to the tire shop. So I repeated that exact phrase to him to remind myself I didn't want to go back to the tire shop. But I am going to Brazil. And I am going to go back to the tire shop, with this belt here." It was a powerful reminder of his no plan B mentality, emphasizing how necessity drove his career, and now, victory allowed him to revisit his roots victoriously. Mission accomplished indeed. Pereira's gesture wasn't just a win, it was a narrative flip, proving